Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Now, today we're going to be talking about how you can remove hard inquiries, and this will be an update in 2026. Now, I've released a previous video showing you an alternative method while using the CFPB. Now, for today, I'm going to be showing you a new method with using Rising.com. That way, if anything does happen to the CFPB, you already know the alternative in order to remove hard inquiries from your credit report. Now, I do believe after attempting various methods over the last few months, this is still the fastest way to remove hard inquiries. Now, last year, like I said before, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau went through major disruptions, and after a July 2025 budget bill that slashed their funding nearly in half, operating has been reduced. And just for more clarification, its operating budget was reduced from approximately $785 million to $446 million, triggering widespread disruption in this particular agency. Now, that did lead to staff reduction. It led to delays, and it also led to some growing uncertainty when it comes to this current administration and the CFPB. Now, with that being said, the CFPB has not shut down, at least as of the time of recording this video. The agency is still operating, and consumers, they can still submit their disputes through this system. However, the reason why I'm addressing this is, again, very simple. It's because in case this ever does change, I want to make sure that you have an alternative already prepared for you. The landscape will change very quickly. We know things change in an instant. So this will be your alternative backup method that no matter what happens, it will work in removing hard inquiries. And I just want you to understand that when it comes to staying effective with credit repair, you can do this by understanding shifts instead of assuming that everything will always stay the same. So this will be one of the things that, again, you can do. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, I want to address a few things. If you have not seen my first video, I'm going to link that right here. Okay. In that first video, it's going to show you how to go to the FTC website, create your affidavit, and once you have that affidavit, then you can move on to the next step. All right. So again, if you haven't seen my first video, I highly recommend that you watch that before proceeding with this one. I'll also link that video at the end of this one. That way, you know, it's already there. If you want to jump to the timestamp, it'll be in the description below. I'll put the section that shows create the affidavit, and then you can jump back to this portion of the video once we actually show you how to submit that through Rising.com. Now, before you try to remove a single hard inquiry, you need to know where your credit data is coming from. Now, the first option that I recommend will always be annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com is the only website authorized by federal law to provide your official credit report from all three bureaus. And at the time of recording this video, you can still pull your reports weekly, which does make it much easier for you to track changes while you're disputing hard inquiries. And most importantly, these reports show the data exactly as the bureau see it, and that means that you're looking at the true creditor's name, the true inquiry date, and which bureau is reporting it. When you're disputing inquiries, precision does matter. So if the name or the date that you submit does not match what's on file, then the bureau can claim they could not locate that item, and they can close your dispute without correcting it. If you want to use this option, then you can simply go to annualcreditreport.com and download your reports directly. It costs you nothing, and it gives you the most authoritative version of your credit reporting data. The second option is Rising.com. Now, Rising is a credit monitoring service that does offer a tri-merge credit report, meaning that it combines Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion data into one single document. Now, the reason this can be helpful is for organization. So instead of you having to flip back and forth between three separate reports, you can quickly see which inquiries appear on which bureau and whether or not the data actually matches, or whether an inquiry is showing up on one file but not the other. Not to mention that for this method to actually work, we're going to be submitting our dispute through Rising, and I'm going to give you some disclosures, but the most important thing is that you want to be signed up, and you can sign up for a trial for $1 that will last for 7 days. That way you can experience the platform and see if it's right for you. That trial link for $1 will be down in the description if you want to check it out. Either way, the objective is the exact same. You want a clean, readable view. You want these hard inquiries, and you want to be able to confirm exactly how each bureau is reporting them. And once you have that clarity, the dispute process becomes far more controlled and far more effective. All right, now with that being said, just a disclaimer, because I know some people jump through these videos, you need to watch the previous video and you need to create your affidavit first. Now, once that affidavit is created, we are now going to go to rising.com instead of the CFPB in order to complete this process. Currently, we are on rising.com. Now, in order for you to get started, you can click on the Get Started option. And once you click on that option, you will be brought to a page that will ask you to create an account. From there, you'll enter your first name, last name, your email address, your password, and your current address. Now, it is very important that you have been at that current address for at least 6 months or more, because rising.com will need that information to verify your identity. I would also suggest using an email that you actually put on, let's say, multiple applications, or is the email that you use primarily. Now, you should see the preferred option with the trial. That's going to be 7 days for $1. Then it's going to be the regular price of $39.99. So all you have to do is agree and then click on next. Now, once that happens, you may be asked some security questions. Usually it's going to verify like maybe recent accounts that you've opened or recent addresses or your county, something like that. Once that's done, you should be able to create your password, and your login username should be your email address and that password that you just created. Now, there are a few different ways that you can access this platform. Hopefully at the time that you're watching this, it will be available on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. If you don't see it, I would say just wait like a week or two and it should be available. But you can also click on log in from the home page. Once you do that, then you'll be asked to enter your username as well as your password to access the account. Now, once you log in, it should say hello and your name. Now, this is not my credit report. This belongs to someone else. I've just been given permission to use it as an example. So all the personal information will be blurred out, but this is someone's real credit report. So it'll give you all 3 scores. As you can see here, this one is a credit report that definitely needs some disputing. So the first thing that I would do is go to your score factors and take a look at negative items. We're going to look at hard inquiries. So for this individual, they have 21 hard inquiries. Now you can go through and look at the report and view it here by clicking on credit report view. Now, as you guys probably know from the previous video, if you're creating affidavits, I mean, in this situation, this is someone who was trying to get an auto loan and their inquiries got completely shotgunned. Like, it's 96, right? That is absolutely insane, right? So you can't put 96 on the affidavit from the FTC website, but you could put like 5 at a time. So for this person, it would take them a while to create all of them, but they would have to add 5 per each dispute. Okay. Now, hopefully in your case, it's not that many, but this is what you will be looking for. Now, what we're going to do is scroll down and we're going to look at inquiries right here. Now, as you can see, they have some with Navy Federal. This one's kind of old, from 2024, but here's something with Something Motors, West Coast Auto LLC. So these are all like some of the ones that I was referring to, like they got their credit report shotgun by all of these auto loan places. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is click on this inquiry, one of the most recent ones, and then we're going to click on Start Dispute. Now, just to be clear, you would have already added this exact inquiry to your affidavit. So if you watched the previous video, you would have gone to the FTC website, created your affidavit. You can list 5 inquiries there, and then you would have put nowcom/West Coast Auto. That is how you would have put that. And then you would have put the inquiry date. Okay, I just want to make sure that that's understood. You have to watch that previous video in order to understand that. Now, have you disputed the same issue with this account before? If yes, then you would enter the number of previous dispute attempts. So obviously we haven't done this before. I'm going to put 0 and then I'm going to put next. Then for the dispute reason, I'm going to select I don't recognize this inquiry. Then I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to add something simple right here because I do want to add a specific comment. Now, I did notice that a couple of previous comments that I saw said that the templates on this site, they're very generic. And I just want to point out that the body of the text will not change. Like the very top and the very end will always stay the same because it has to apply to multiple people. But where you can actually get specific and start to differentiate this is to make sure that in the specific comments, you actually state exactly what the issue is. And then very simple, just like on the previous video where you submitted through the CFPB, you can just put something like, please remove this inquiry from my credit report. I do not recognize this, which is kind of the same thing that it's going to be here, but you can again put it in your own words. If you want to add a little bit more, then you can, but something very simple along these same lines. Then you're going to click on finish. Now, once you have done that, we are going to click on draft disputes. Then we're going to click on generate dispute letters, and then we're going to click on continue. All right, so now it's going to actually draft this letter for us, and let's take a look at what exactly it states. Now, if you click on the little eye with the paper, that's going to give us a preview, or if you click the arrow like pointing down, then you can download it. So let's just do a quick preview. Now, at the very top, it's going to have the date that you generated this dispute. Now, for this individual, their name, their address, their date of birth, and their social, it will be blurred out, but this should be on the actual letter. Then it'll have Experian because that's the bureau that this hard inquiry was with. It wasn't with any other bureau. Then it'll also have the address for Experian. Now, one thing I want to state, just like when you submit this through the CFPB, you will need to have a picture of your driver's license, right? You're going to want to add that. You also want to have a picture of your social security card. And then you also want to have proof of address, proof of residency. That can be a bill. It can be your registration with your car. It can be your insurance. You know, it can be your voter's registration card. There's so many things that you can use, bank statements. All of that will count as proof of residency, and that should match the address on your driver's license, okay? And it should also match the address on this particular letter. So if it doesn't, make sure that it does. And it's going to be very simple. It's going to say, Dear Experian, I am writing to request an investigation of the following information that appears on my consumer report. Dispute 1, and it's going to have the actual inquiry here. Nowcom West Coast Auto. I don't recognize this inquiry. And then our little note that we put here, please remove this inquiry from my credit report. I do not recognize this. Some information here, and then sincerely, and then your name. Very simple, very straightforward. Now, there are two ways that you can do this. At the time of recording this video with Rising.com, you would have to print this letter, which you could print it right here. It already generated everything for you, right? And then you would want to add your driver's license, your social security card, a picture of that. You would also want to add your proof of residency. All of that would go into a letter. You would fold it up. And then, of course, your affidavit, you would put that in there too. Fold that up, right? And then you would go ahead and send that off through the mail. Certified is best, but if not, then you can just send it through the post office. Now, there will be an option available on Rising.com very soon where you can actually send your disputes online, okay? Once that happens, I'll probably do another update demonstrating that. But for now, this is how you would do it. In the future, you will be able to submit this dispute all on the website. Now, I want to show you one more thing. Let's say that you wanted to add multiple inquiries onto this one letter. I'll show you exactly how you can do that. So what we want to do first is go to credit report review and go back to your inquiries. All right, now let's say that we want to dispute this one as well. This is the Lithia Motors drive view. Let's take a look at that one. And then we're going to click on start dispute. And then it's going to ask us our number of attempts. Let's just put 0 for now. And then we're going to click on next. And then same thing, I don't recognize this inquiry, and then we'll click on next. If you want to, then you can add a specific reason. Now, I do want you to keep in mind, because this inquiry is only with Equifax, all right? It's only with Equifax, which means it should not actually be going to Experian. Let's click on finish here, and then we're going to click on draft our disputes. And then we're going to click on generate dispute letters, and then we're going to click on continue. And then it says right here, do you want to add these disputes to letters you've already created? Once again, be careful. That other one said Equifax, right? That means that it should not be on the same dispute as Experian. So I'm going to show you how this works just for an example, right? Because it will add it on there. But make sure that the only ones that are repeating are going to the same bureau. Now, if you don't want this to happen, what you want to do is mark it as sent already. If you mark it as sent, it will not add to your current dispute. So let's click on continue. And as you can see here, we now have one dispute letter with Experian. We have one with Equifax. Now, notice here, when I click on the Equifax dispute, you now see the actual Lithia Motors Drive view, and you don't recognize this inquiry. Now, what I'll do, because this demonstration didn't exactly show what I wanted on how to add one, since it was a different credit bureau, let me find one that actually reports to all three and then show you what I mean. Now, it was really hard to find one that reported to all three, so instead, let's use this one with AmeriCredit, and it reports to Experian, and then we're going to click on Start Dispute, and then same thing, let's put 0 for the number of times that we've attempted. We're going to click on Next. I don't recognize this inquiry. Click on Next, and then we're going to click on Draft Disputes. Now we're going to click on Generate Dispute Letters. Then we're going to click on Continue. And then, do you want to add these letters to the letters you've already created? Once again, if we want to have multiple inquiries from the same bureau on the same letter, then yes, we click Continue. All right. Now, when I go to Experian, it shows 2 disputes, right? It went from 1 to 2. Now let's preview this. Now, as you can see for Experian, it shows Nowcom West Coast Auto with 1 inquiry, and then AmeriCredit, it shows a 2nd inquiry. So again, I would only do 5 inquiries per dispute, right? And again, the affidavit that you make on the FTC should match this. All right, so you'll want to go through, again, yours won't be like this, hopefully not, where it's like 96. I know that's like a ridiculous amount, but for you, if you had like 10, you'd want to do this and add them to each letter up to 5, right? And then if you have more than 5, create an affidavit, a second one that should have the next amount, okay? Now, once you click on Mark as Sent, at that point, it will no longer add new inquiries or new accounts being disputed to that same letter. So let's click on Mark as Sent, and then it's going to ask us, how did we send this? Is it US mail? Is it certified mail? Is it fax? We're going to say that we sent it through certified mail. You would then pick the date. So let's just say that we did it today. It was on May 3rd, 2026. We'll click on Mark as Sent. Now, as you can see, the status changed to Sent today. All right. Now, what's going to happen is it'll take some time for this dispute to process. I'm going to cover time frames right after this, but then we want to add our dispute results, right? So let's say for Experian, we clicked on Add Dispute Results. And then for this one, we actually confirmed, okay, they actually deleted the information. Then we would add a note, deleted. And if I were you, I would keep a note like deleted on, and then let's say that they did it on May 20th, something like that, right? 2026. Then save results. And then we would add the same thing here, deleted. And then I would just put the date just for your reference. That way you knew exactly how long it took. Because let's say you're doing this for business credit cards or something in the future, you kind of want to have an idea of how long it took for each one of these to go through. And that way you know exactly how long it would take to remove that future inquiry. And then click on Save Results. Okay, so this Experian letter is complete. You had 2 successful disputes, and then continue. So now we're all good. We can see our Experian letters, 2 disputes, they are successful. Now, if for whatever reason they weren't successful, that usually doesn't happen, we would go ahead and submit our next round. Once again, then we would go back into the credit report review, click on the account, add our new verbiage that we would actually use. Normally, we don't have an issue with disputes. It's pretty straightforward. And then we would do it that way. All right. Now, again, in the future, you will have the option to actually submit this through rising.com, which will be no need for the CFPB. You can just submit the disputes here without having to go to the post office. So then look out for that. And again, you should have the mobile app, depending on when you're watching this video. It may not be there yet. If not, as this ages, it'll be available to you. You can also do this from your phone. All right. So one thing I want to go over is the difference in time frames. Now, I haven't done this very often with Rising, so it might change, but for the time frames that I've seen with the CFPB, for Experian now to remove a hard inquiry, and again, once the option actually is on Rising to do it on the website, it might be even faster. But right now with Experian, it's taking around 7 to 10 days to remove a hard inquiry. When it comes to TransUnion, it's been about 30 days for me. I've tried this various times through the CFPB, through submitting a letter. It seems to be the same for whatever reason. With Equifax, it's around 7 to 14 days, so not as bad. So best times are about a week, if not 2 weeks for Experian and Equifax. When it comes to TransUnion, it's taking about 1 month. Now, one thing that you can try and do is call TransUnion at 1-800-916-8800. Press 1, then say dispute. You might be able to dispute it over the phone, but results can definitely vary. I've done this before. It did come off in about 24 hours, but they did put a fraud alert on my credit report, which then went to all 3 bureaus. Very easy fix. You can actually do it online for Experian. You can remove the fraud alert for TransUnion online as well. However, Equifax will require you to call, at least in my experience. That's what happened. Very simple. You just call and let them know. So that's the reason why I recommend just doing it this way and just waiting the time frame and just keeping track on rising.com. From there, you can actually, monitor your time frame so you can go back and review your disputes and actually see how long did it take for me to get a response. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Now, if you have not tried rising.com, I definitely recommend it. You can start that trial for $1. It's good for 7 days. If you've had some successes with removing those hard inquiries following this method, please drop a comment below and let me know about that success, and let me know how long it actually took you. I want to see the different time frames between the CFPB, rising.com sending the letters, and also Rising when the option to dispute is on the platform. Let me know what happened. Now, at the end of this video, I will link the original video that I did an update on for 2026. That one will show you about the affidavits and how to actually do that. All right. So again, you want to make sure that you do that before you actually go ahead and send this letter off. Now, if you have any other questions or concerns, drop that in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer that for you if I missed anything in the video. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Today, we're talking about the best way to remove hard inquiries in 2026. I've released 2 other videos showing you various methods of how to do this. And after attempting a few methods, I will be providing you the fastest way to do this. Last year, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, they went through a major disruption after a July 2025 budget bill slashed its funding nearly in half. Now, because of this budgeting reduction, there were staff reductions and delays that essentially paused enforcement activity. It also had growing uncertainty as the current administration pushed efforts to scale back the Bureau's authority, with some factions openly advocating for elimination of this altogether. But with that being said, the CFPB did not shut down. The agency is still operating, and consumers can still submit their dispute through its systems. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I gave you a method of how to remove hard inquiries through the CFPB. I also gave you another method about the Better Business Bureau. Now, that method with the Better Business Bureau, as many of you have seen, does not work anymore. So we can still rely on the CFPB in order to send our disputes. Now, there will be some updates that I will be showing you as we go through this process. I will also be giving you my updated experience. I did 3 hard inquiries on each bureau. I had all of them removed, and I'll tell you exactly how long it took for each single one and any other updated methods that you can use in order to get this done even faster. So just know, if you've used the CFPB in the past and you've gotten results, this is still a valid option. The reason I'm addressing this now is simple. The landscape is changing quickly, platforms will evolve, procedures are revised, and what worked smoothly last year sometimes can be very different today. Staying effective means that you understand these shifts instead of just assuming that things will always be the same, and that's the reason that we need to make an update to this method. Now, quick disclosures here. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I am not a credit repair specialist. You cannot pay me to do any sort of credit repair work for you. If you email me and you ask me on the side, I will ignore you. Again, I make videos about all things financial literacy. I made videos on macro and microeconomics, and no one calls me an economist. So again, I'm not a credit repair specialist. I don't want to be one. So please do not ask me. This is all free information for your benefit. You do not have to pay for any of this, and this is all just to help you. The other thing that I'm gonna ask more than anything is that you watch the video all the way through. Reason being, go back to my past video. I probably have over 1,000 comments, or if you combine all of them, maybe even 2,000 comments, and half of them is me responding to people. So it saves me time, but more importantly, it saves you time. Watch it all the way through. More than likely, all your questions will be answered. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before you try to remove a single hard inquiry, we need to talk about where your credit data is coming from. Now, the first option that I recommend that you use is annualcreditreport.com. Now, annualcreditreport.com is the only website authorized by federal law to provide you your official credit report from all three bureaus. And at the time of recording this video, you can still pull your reports weekly, which does make it easier to track while you are disputing hard inquiries. And more importantly, these reports show the data exactly as the bureau see it. So that means you're looking at the true creditor's name, the true inquiry date, and which bureau it is reporting to. Now, when you're disputing inquiries, precision matters. If the name or date you submit does not match what's on your file, then the bureau can claim that they cannot locate the item and they will close that dispute without correcting anything. That's something I want to emphasize because a lot of people end up doing this and putting wrong information, and then they don't see the inquiry removed. So if you want to use this option, simply go to annualcreditreport.com and download your reports directly. It costs you nothing and it gives you the most authoritative version of your credit data. Now, the second option is going to be Rising. Rising is a credit monitoring service that offers a tri-merged credit report, meaning it combines your Experian, your Equifax, and your TransUnion data into one single document. Now, the reason this can be helpful for hard inquiry removal is organization. Instead of flipping back and forth between three separate reports, you can quickly see which inquiries appear on which bureau. And you can also see if dates match or inquiries are showing up on a file but not the other. Rising also provides real-time dispute updates so you can see when inquiries are removed without constantly pulling fresh reports. You can start a free trial today for $1. The link will be down in the description. Either way, the objective is the same. You want a clean, readable view of your hard inquiries, and you want to be able to confirm exactly how each bureau is reporting them. Once you have that clarity, the dispute process becomes far more controlled and far more effective. Now, I highly recommend that you get your report from one of these sources before you dispute your hard inquiries. That way you can make sure you're getting the correct information. That way you're not prohibited from any of this not being removed. Now, once you have your fresh credit report from either rising.com or annualcreditreport.com, you will want to come here to IdentityTheft.gov. This is going to be the FTC website. I'll put a link down in the description below. Then you'll want to click on Report Identity Theft. Then you'll want to click on Yes. And then I get a lot of questions about this section right here. Guys, it does not matter what type of inquiry that it is. Always choose credit card. It does not matter if it's an auto loan, if it's a account for like a bank account. It doesn't matter what it is. Always pick credit card accounts for everything. All right. And then we're going to click Continue. And then we're going to click to open a fraudulent credit card account. And then we will click Continue. Now, this first section where it says theft details, you can completely bypass this. You will not enter any information here. You will then click Continue. Now, on this next section, your information, you will enter your first name, your last name, your phone number, your email address, date of birth, your current mailing address, and how long that you have been there. These last two sections here, you can leave them as the default no. Now, one other thing I want to come back to is entering your phone number. If you submit this request various times, you may not be able to receive a verification code. Now, if you can no longer receive a code, you can either clear cache, open a new browser, clear your history, go incognito or a private window, or just use a different device altogether. Sometimes it has to do with the IP address. So if you did it on your computer, try doing it from your phone. If you did it from your phone, then your computer. Or again, try Google Chrome or try Safari. If you were using Firefox, you can try any of these methods. If all else fails, you need to use a different phone number. If you don't have a backup phone number, then you can try using a Google Voice number. That does work sometimes as well. And if none of this works for whatever reason, just wait some time, like a day or two, and then try again, and you should be good to go. Now in section 3, suspect information, you can just select no, not at this time and hit continue, and then we'll be on the additional information screen. Now here, have you received a copy of your credit report? Yes, you should have that fresh copy of your report. Was there any fraudulent accounts in your report? No, not at this time. And then none of the above if there was any personal information wrong on the report. Now, this is where I want you to pay attention. When you apply for credit, the lender will place an inquiry in your file. Inquiries are listed near the end of your credit report. If you see any inquiries that you did not initiate, please list up to 3 here. Now, again, like it says right here, you can only put up to 3. If you have more, then you will enter any additional in the personal statement section of your report, which we will get to next. So let's add 3 here. So I just added Bank of America, January 1st, 2026. Let's add another one. I added Wells Fargo, January 2nd, 2026, and then we'll do one more. Then I did PNC, January 3rd, 2026. And as you can see here, I have no more room left. I cannot add any more inquiries. So now we will move on to the next screen. Now for everything else that you see here, leave the default no, 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 and then click on continue. Okay, so now we're in the personal statement section. This is where you're going to actually say what happened, and this can be very short, very brief. Once again, we already added 3 inquiries. Now we're going to add our 4th one here, and I just put Truist Bank, January 4th, 2026, and something very simple. Please remove this hard inquiry from my credit report, and that is it. You guys can put whatever you would like. Please remove this hard inquiry from my credit report. I don't recognize this. I don't recognize these. You want to just put something like that. But again, try to use your own verbiage. Don't try to use the exact same thing. Just make it unique to you, but it's very simple. Just something like this. Now, once you have your report, it's going to show all the information that we just went over. Your first name, your last name, your address, your phone number, your email. Make sure all that information is correct. And then you'll notice all the credit inquiries are going to be here. But once we download this, we'll see the other one that's in the personal statement section. Now, the information will probably be blurred out for you, but once this is done, you'll hit finalize. Now, in this section, you don't want to create an account. You want to hit no thanks, submit without an account, and then it's going to ask you again, hit submit without an account once more, and then click continue, and then it's going to bring us our report. You can now download the report right here. Now, this is a one-time copy, so if you go off of this page, you'll have to repeat this entire process again. So now I have my report downloaded, and as you can see right here, it has my personal statement section with the other inquiries, and then it has the first 3 that I put here. So if you have multiple, this is exactly how it should look. Once we have this downloaded, we will now go to the CFPB. All right, so currently we are on the CFPB. I'm going to put a link in the description for this website as well. You'll want to scroll down and you want to go to start a new complaint. Now, if you've done this before, you'll already have an account. If not, then you can go here and you can create one. But if you have an account, click on already submitted a complaint or created an account. Once you do that, you will be able to log in. And then once we log in, we'll be able to submit this complaint. All right, so now that we're on step 1, the first thing that you'll want to do is click on credit reporting or other personal consumer reports. And then you'll want to click on what type of credit reporting product, credit report, and then you'll click on next. And then you'll look for credit inquiries on your report that you don't recognize. And then have you already tried to fix this problem? Yes. Did you request information from the company? Yes. You don't have to actually put the information that was requested. That's optional. Did the company provide this information? No, and then click on next. So now on step number 3, the what happened section, you can describe exactly what the complaint is about. So very simple for hard inquiries. Please remove these or this unauthorized hard inquiry from my credit report. You guys can put something along those lines. I don't recognize them. Again, put it in your own words, and then you'll list the hard inquiries just like this. To be honest, you can just copy and paste it from your actual affidavit. It's very easy to do that. And then with the next section right here, what would be a fair resolution? Honestly, it's the exact same thing. you want them to remove the hard inquiries. Now, you don't need to check this box. You don't need to publish the description or anything like that. You just want to take whatever here and you can copy and paste it here, because the same issue that you're describing is going to really be the same as the resolution. Now, right here, to verify your identity, you need to add a copy of your driver's license, a copy of the affidavit. You also want to add a copy of your social security card. And the last thing I would add is a copy of your credit report that shows the hard inquiries. So that's one thing that I've noticed that has changed. If you don't include all 3 identification documents for hard inquiries and a copy of the credit report showing it, and the name has to match exactly what's on the report. If you don't do that, then they may not remove the hard inquiries. Now, once you have all of that added, you can then click on next. Now, the one great thing about the CFPB is that, let's say all the information was the same for each bureau. Let's say that the way that the Bank of America inquiry was listed was the same on Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You can submit one affidavit with all your other documents, and then you can submit it to each bureau at the same time instead of it being separately. So to do this, let's say that I was looking for Experian. Experian will come up here. I would use the very first one, either this lowercase one or the one in all caps. And then you're going to check each one of these boxes. And when you do that, you're going to enter the last 4 of your social. You're going to enter your date of birth, and then you're going to enter your name as it appears on your credit report. Okay. Then it's going to say, do you want to complain about another company? You would click on yes. And then here you can add Equifax. And then it's going to be usually this one, Equifax Information Solutions or Equifax Inc. Either one is fine. It doesn't really matter. And then, have you already tried to fix this problem with the company? It's going to be all the same things. Yes, yes, and no. And then same thing, check all these boxes. And then you'll want to enter your information once more. And then the last thing that you'll need to do is add, of course, the third bureau, which will be TransUnion. And you can use this first one that comes up right here, TransUnion. And then, have you already tried the same exact thing? Yes, yes, and then no. And then you'll enter, check these boxes, and then enter your information once more. Now, this is very important too. When you're submitting the information, make sure you always select myself. You always have to choose myself. Now, once you select myself, your information will come up and you'll just verify that everything is correct, that everything matches. Now, I'm not going to actually submit this complaint, so I'm going to stop right here. The next screen will just be for you to review everything and then you can submit. All right, so before we wrap up this video, I just want to go over a couple of things with you. I want to go over exactly what the time frames will be for this to be resolved. Again, I've put 3 hard inquiries from each bureau and I documented exactly how long it took from each one of these. So for Experian, it was about 7 to 10 days. I will also say that with Experian, I had to submit one of them twice. I'm not sure why, but for whatever reason, one of them just nothing happened. I did have to submit it twice. And then again, the time frame was about the same, 7 to 10 days. When it comes to TransUnion, I would say that was the longest bureau, but I can't really say why. Every time that I did it, it took about 30 days. Not sure why, once again, but it was just the longest one. Now, if you're having issues where, let's say you need this removed like immediately, there is a number where you can call and you can dispute this with TransUnion. I don't really like this option because the experiences have been very mixed. Not only that, but when you remove the hard inquiries, sometimes they'll put a fraud alert on your account. Then it gets sent to all 3 bureaus. Now you have to contact everyone and remove it. So it can be a hassle. The last thing that I would suggest that you try if you're in a rush is sending a letter. Now, everything that we did, you can basically take all of those documents, print them out, send a letter to TransUnion, send that letter certified. Sometimes that has faster results if the CFPB is taking too long for you. If not, I would say expect around 30 days. And when it came to Equifax, it was kind of a range, to be honest. Equifax was more like around 3 days. It was fairly quick. Now, I just put 7 to 14 days just to be fair, because sometimes it was about a week, but then I had 3 days, then I had 5 days. So let's just say 7 to 14 days for Equifax. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. So hopefully this update will come in handy. You have more information now to be able to get these hard inquiries removed, and you have an idea of the time frame. Now, once again, worst case scenario, you can always just send a letter and dispute these. It'll work the exact same way. It's not really that hard. You can also call and you can ask them to remove it. I've seen that work in 24 hours for Experian a lot. It can work for Equifax as well. And for TransUnion, again, it is mixed, but you can call if you would like. If there was something I missed or you guys still have questions, please drop that in the comments below. I will do my best to get to your question as soon as possible. If not, please check my previous videos. If I don't get to them, you may get some of your questions answered in the comments. A lot of the things that get asked are usually the exact same thing. So try some of the old videos, read through the comments, you may find your answer there. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and you have a wonderful day.